Hey guys, tonight we're diving into something truly stomach-churning. A job so brutal, so visceral, that most people can't even imagine it exists. We're going underground, literally, into the veins of the city that nobody wants to think about. The sewers. And trust me, after tonight, you'll never flush your toilet the same way again. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. But fair warning, you might want to finish eating before we begin. Chapter 1. The wake-up call nobody wants. It's 4:47 a.m. Your alarm doesn't sing or chime, it screams. Because in about an hour, you'll be descending into a world most people pretend doesn't exist. A world of human waste, toxic gases, and creatures that thrive in filth. Welcome to your new life as a sewer worker. You drag yourself out of bed, and immediately, the smell hits you. Not from outside, from your own skin. See, the sewer smell. It doesn't wash off, not completely. It seeps into your pores, nestles in your hair follicles, becomes part of your molecular structure. Your spouse stopped mentioning it months ago. Your kids know not to hug you until after your third shower. The pre-work shower is more ritual than hygiene. You scrub with industrial soap that burns your skin, trying to create a clean base layer. It's pointless, really. In 2 hours, you'll smell worse than anything you can imagine right now. But you do it anyway, clinging to this last moment of quasi-cleanliness. Your breakfast, strong. Black coffee and something heavy. Eggs, bacon, toast, slathered in butter. Not because you're hungry at 5 a.m., but because you need a full stomach. An empty stomach in the sewers means dry heaving every 5 minutes. A full one might keep the bile down when you encounter your first fatberg of the day. Oh, you don't know what a fatberg is. Give it time, you'll meet one soon enough. You check your gear bag obsessively. Headlamp with backup batteries. Check. Gas monitor, the device that might save your life today. Check. Spare gloves, because the first pair will definitely tear. Check. Emergency oxygen mask. Check. The antibiotics you keep, just in case, because a small cut down there can turn septic faster than you can say workers' comp. Your truck waits outside, a heavy-duty vehicle that's seen things. The other vehicles on the road give you space, not out of respect, but because they can smell you coming. The logo on the side might say sanitation department, but everyone knows what you really are. You're the person who goes where nobody else will. You're the one who keeps their toilets flushing and their showers draining. You're a sewer worker, and your shift hasn't even started yet. Chapter 2. Suiting up for war. The depot looks like a military installation had a baby with a hazmat facility, which honestly isn't far from the truth. You park between identical trucks, all scarred with rust and stories nobody wants to hear. The morning crew shuffles in, no small talk, no jokes. Everyone's saving their energy for what's coming. The locker room reeks of disinfectant, fighting a losing battle against other things. You strip down to your underwear, the last clean clothes you'll wear for the next 10 hours. First comes the base layer moisture-wicking fabric that promises to keep you dry. It lies. Nothing keeps you dry down there. Next, the chemical-resistant suit. It's thick, rubbery, and already smells like the ghost of sewage past. The material is designed to protect you from splashback, chemical burns, and the countless diseases floating in the waste stream. It's also designed to trap every drop of sweat your body produces, turning you into a human stew pot within minutes. The boots weigh 5 pounds each, steel-toed knee-high, with soles so thick you could step on a nail and not notice. You'll need that protection. The sewers are full of surprises, syringes, broken glass, industrial waste that definitely shouldn't be there. One puncture, one tiny hole, and you're looking at tetanus, hepatitis, or something the doctors won't even have a name for. Gloves come in layers. First nitrile underneath the last defense against skin contact. Then heavy rubber work gloves that extend past your elbows. Some guys wear 3 pairs. They're the smart ones. The ones who've seen what happens when sewage gets under your fingernails and into a hangnail. Spoiler, it's not pretty. The hard it isn't optional. Neither is the face shield. You clip on your gas monitor, the device that measures hydrogen sulfide, methane, carbon monoxide, and oxygen levels. This little box is your lifeline. When it screams, you move fast. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Doesn't matter if you're waist deep in sewage. When the alarm goes off, you have seconds to get out before the invisible gases knock you unconscious. Some workers have died down there, overcome by fumes, drowning in waste while their partners tried desperately to pull them out. The old-timers tell these stories not to scare you, but to keep you alive. Respect the sewer, they say, or it'll take you. The final piece of equipment is psychological nose plugs. Some use them, some don't. The veterans say you get used to the smell. They're lying. You never get used to it. You just learn to breathe through your mouth and ignore the taste. Chapter 3. The First Descent. Your crew assembles at the manhole. 4 of you, today, never work alone in the sewers. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2. Always have an escape plan. Rule number 3. Don't think about what you're standing in. The manhole cover weighs 250 pounds. It takes 2 of you with specialized hooks to pry it open. The moment it lifts, the smell escapes like a physical force. It's not just feces and urine. That would be too simple. It's decomposition, chemical reactions, industrial runoff, and things that have been rotting in darkness for weeks. It's the smell of every toilet flush, every shower drain, every disposed secret from the city above. You force yourself not to gag. Gagging shows weakness. And down here, weakness makes you a target for the worst jobs. The ladder descends into darkness. 20 feet of rusted metal rungs, each one slick with condensation and things you don't want to identify. You clip your safety harness to the rail, another rule. Workers have slipped, fallen, broken backs in the darkness. Some have drowned in just 2 feet of water. You descend slowly, headlamp cutting through the blackness. The temperature drops with each rung. Not cool, but a different kind of heat. Humid, thick, like breathing soup. The walls are concrete, but you can see where decades of waste have eaten through, leaving wounds that weep brown liquid. Your boots hit the bottom with a splash. The water comes up to your shins. You know it's not water. It's a river of human waste, flowing steadily toward the treatment plant miles away. Toilet paper floats by like ghosts. Darker things bob in the current. You learn not to look too closely. The tunnel stretches in both directions, a concrete artery 6 feet in diameter. You have to hunch to walk. The ceiling drips constantly. Condensation mixed with whatever's leaking from the pipes above. Each drop that hits your hard-at sounds like a tiny drum beat. A reminder that you're under tons of earth, concrete, and city. Your headlamp illuminates maybe 20 feet ahead. Beyond that is darkness so complete it seems solid. Somewhere in that darkness is today's problem, a blockage that's backing up sewage into people's basements. Your job is to find it, clear it, and get out alive. Simple, right? Chapter 4. The River of Filth. Walking through a sewer isn't like walking anywhere else. Every step is calculated. The floor is slippery with biofilm, a living slime made of bacteria, grease, and decomposing matter. One wrong step and you're face first in sewage. It's happened to everyone at least once. The taste stays with you for weeks. The flow never stops. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The city's waste flows past your legs. You can feel the current, surprisingly strong, trying to pull you along. During heavy rains, this gentle flow becomes a raging torrent that can sweep a grown man off his feet and into the darkness. That's why you check weather reports obsessively. A surprise thunderstorm while you're underground isn't just inconvenient, it's potentially fatal. The sewers can flood in minutes, water level rising from knee-high to over your head before you can reach a ladder. You wade forward, each step stirring up sediment that's been settling for God knows how long. Your headlamp catches movement rats, dozens of them, eyes glowing red in the light. They're not scared of you. Down here, you're in their world. Some are the size of cats, grown fat on the endless buffet of waste. But rats are the least of your worries. The real danger is invisible. Your gas monitor chirps a warning. Methane levels are climbing. Not dangerous yet, but getting there. Methane is flammable, explosive. One spark from a tool, a lighter, even static electricity, and the tunnel becomes a bomb. Workers have been burned alive in sewer explosions, their screams echoing through the tunnels until the flames consumed all the oxygen. Then there's hydrogen sulfide, sewer gas. It smells like rotten eggs at low concentrations. At higher levels, it destroys your sense of smell. Then it knocks you unconscious. Then it kills you, all in under a minute. That's why the monitor is strapped to your chest, close to your breathing zone. When it alarms, you don't ask questions. You move. The tunnel narrows ahead. Great, now you're not just hunched, you're practically crawling. The ceiling presses down, forcing you lower until you're almost on your knees in the sewage. This is when claustrophobia hits. The weight of the city above, the darkness pressing in, the knowledge that you're trapped in a pipe full of human waste. Some workers crack here. They panic, hyperventilate, claw at the walls trying to escape. That's why psychological screening is part of the job application. Not everyone can handle being buried alive in shit. Chapter 5. Meeting your first fatberg. You smell it before you see it, which is saying something, considering where you are. It's a different kind of stench, rancid grease, mixed with decay. Like a restaurant dumpster that's been fermenting in the sun for a month. Your headlamp finally illuminates the beast. Imagine if every piece of cooking grease, every flushable wipe spoiler, they're not flushable, every cotton swab, condom, and dental floss thread decided to have an orgy in a sewer pipe. Now imagine that orgy lasting for years, growing larger with each contribution, solidifying into a mass of putrescent fat held together by human hair and unmentionable things. That's a fat. This one is modest, only about 6 feet long and 3 feet high. You've heard stories of monsters the size of city buses, but this is your first encounter. It's almost completely blocking the pipe, forcing the sewage to squeeze through a gap at the top. The backup is what's flooding basements upstream. Now comes the fun part. You have to break it apart. Your tool of choice is a high-pressure water jet. Think of a pressure washer on steroids to 3000 psi. Of recycled sewage water, because of course it is that can cut through concrete. You brace yourself, aim at the fatberg, and pull the trigger. The blast hits the mass, and all hell breaks loose. Chunks of rancid fat explode in every direction. The smell, dear God, the smell intensifies tenfold. Grease splatters your face shield, your suit, your everything. You're being baptized in liquefied restaurant waste and human excrement. But here's the truly horrifying part. Fatbergs fight back. As you cut into it, pockets of gas trapped inside are released. Methane, hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, a cocktail of death waiting to overcome anyone stupid enough to breathe it in. Your gas monitor screams. You hold your breath, keep cutting. The job has to be done. Piece by piece, the fatberg breaks apart. Each chunk that falls releases new horrors. Used needles embedded like porcupine quills. Dead rats mummified in grease. Things that might have once been food but now exist in a state of decomposition that defies description. The smaller pieces flow away with the current, but the big chunks, those you have to handle manually. With your gloved hands, you grab softball-sized globs of congealed fat and throw them into collection bags. The texture is unforgettable, firm yet squishy, like handling diseased organs. Sometimes your fingers punch through the crust into the liquid center, releasing spurts of rancid oil that somehow finds every gap in your protective gear. 3 hours. That's how long it takes to clear this small fatberg. 3 hours of cutting, grabbing, bagging, and trying not to think about what you're touching. By the end, you're coated in a sheen of grease that turns your protective suit into a skating rink. Every surface is slippery. Every movement risks a fall. But the pipe is clear. The sewage flows freely again. Somewhere above, homeowners' basements stop flooding. They'll never know what you went through to save their finished rec rooms. They'll never want to know. Chapter 6. The lunch break nobody wants. It's noon. You've been underground for 6 hours. Company policy says you get a 30-minute lunch break. The joke is finding somewhere to eat it. You can't eat in the sewer, obviously. But you can't exactly stroll into a restaurant either. You're contaminated. Every surface of your body and gear is covered in a biofilm of bacteria, viruses, and parasites that would make a CDC scientist weep. The decontamination process is its own special hell. First, while still in the sewer, you spray yourself down with a disinfectant solution. It burns your eyes and throat, but it's better than bringing hepatitis topside. Then you climb the ladder, each rung a reminder of how heavy your gear has become, soaked with sewage and fatberg residue. Topside, there's a decontamination station, basically a kiddie pool filled with more disinfectant. You stand in it, spinning slowly like the world's most disgusting rotisserie chicken while your partner hoses you down. The runoff flows back into the sewer because where else would it go? Only after this chemical bath can you even think about removing your outer gear. The suit comes off in pieces, each one handled like hazardous waste, which it is. Underneath, your base layers are soaked with sweat. You smell like a gym sock, marinated in sulfur. The lunch truck is parked a safe distance away. Upwind, the driver, bless him, pretends not to notice the smell. You order a sandwich, chips, water, lots of water. Dehydration is a constant enemy down there. You sweat out pounds of water, but drinking means eventually needing to pee, and, well, let's just say bathroom breaks in the sewer are complicated. You eat mechanically, not tasting much. Your sense of smell is shot, overwhelmed and shut down as a defense mechanism. Food is fuel, nothing more. Some guys can't eat at all during shifts. Their stomachs rebel at the thought of putting anything inside after what they've seen. Between bites, you check your phone, messages from the normal world. Your kid's school needs permission slip signed. Your spouse wants to know what's for dinner. These mundane concerns feel alien after your morning in the underground. How do you bridge these two worlds? How do you go from wrestling fatbergs to helping with homework? 20 minutes left. Not enough time to feel human again, but enough to dread going back down. Because the afternoon shift is when things get really interesting. Chapter 7. The afternoon shift, when sewers come alive. The sun is high now, baking the manhole covers until they're hot enough to fry eggs. But down below, it's always the same temperature, a humid 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Perfect conditions for bacterial growth. Perfect conditions for things to get weird. Your second descent of the day takes you to an older part of the system. These tunnels date back to the 1890s, brick-lined, narrow, and crumbling. Every city has them, these ancient arteries that nobody wants to replace because the cost would bankrupt entire budgets. So they patch, they pray, and they send workers like you to keep them functioning. The brick tunnels have character, by which I mean they're falling apart in fascinating ways. Roots from street trees punch through the mortar, creating curtains of pale tendrils that grab at your helmet. Each root is seeking water and nutrients, and brother, have they found the motherlode? Some roots are thick as your arm, having fed on sewage for decades, but roots are just the beginning. In these old tunnels, you find history, literally. The sewage flow has carved channels in the tunnel floor, exposing layers of detritus from different eras. You spot coins from the 1920s, corroded but recognizable, broken bottles from Prohibition, sometimes jewelry, wedding rings that slipped off soapy fingers, gold teeth from God knows where. One worker found a Civil War-era pistol once. Another discovered a human skull. The old-timers have stories of finding everything from stolen money bags to murder weapons. The sewers keep secrets. They swallow evidence, hide mistakes, digest the city's sins. Your job this afternoon is inspection and cleaning. That means checking every inch of pipe for cracks, breaks, or blockages. It means scraping away decades of buildup, mineral deposits, grease, stalactites, and things that have evolved beyond identification. You're using a scraper now, basically a shovel with attitude, to clear accumulated sludge from the tunnel floor. Each scoop reveals new horrors. The sludge isn't just waste, it's an archaeological record of human excess. Tampons that claim to be flushable, they're not. Condoms in every color of the rainbow. Drug paraphernalia. Children's toys that make you wonder and worry. And then there are the medical wastes. Despite laws and regulations, medical waste finds its way into the sewers. Syringes, bloodied bandages, things that look suspiciously like organs. Each discovery is a biohazard, a potential infection. A reminder that some people view the sewer as a convenient disposal for things that should never be disposed of. Your scraper hits something hard. You probe carefully, could be concrete, could be bone, could be worse. It's a prosthetic leg, intact. You stare at it for a moment, wondering about its journey. Did someone flush it out of spite? Did it fall in accidentally? Is its owner still looking for it? Down here, every object has a story. Most of them are stories you don't want to know. Chapter 8. The Creatures of the Deep. 4 p.m. You're in the deepest part of the system now, where the collector tunnels merge into interceptor sewers large enough to drive a truck through. These massive pipes are ecosystems unto themselves, supporting life forms that have adapted to permanent darkness and a diet of human waste. The rats down here are different. Bigger, bolder, some almost white from generations without sunlight. They move in packs, squeaking communications you almost feel like you could understand if you listened long enough. One worker swears he saw a rat king once, dozens of rats with their tails tangled together, moving as one horrific mass. Nobody believed him. Nobody wanted to. But rats are just the welcoming committee. The real residents of the deep sewers are worse. Cockroaches carpet the walls in places so thick you can hear them moving like rustling leaves. Disturb them and they explode outward in waves, some taking flight, yes, the big ones fly, others dropping into the flow to be carried away to new territories. They're fearless, landing on your suit, crawling across your face shield, looking for any gap in your defenses. Then there are the spiders, moisture-loving species that grow fat on the abundant insect life. Their webs span tunnel openings like silk curtains. Walk through one and you'll be picking spider silk off your gear for hours, all while wondering where the architect of that web ended up. In the water itself, things move that shouldn't exist. Sewer worms, pale and blind, some growing over a foot long. They feed on the biofilm, on the waste, on each other. Touch one, and it writhes with surprising strength, a muscle with no purpose but to consume and grow. Some workers report worse things: albino crayfish with extra legs, fish that shouldn't be able to survive in this toxic soup but somehow do, their bodies twisted by chemicals into new forms. Urban legends speak of alligators, flushed as pets and grown monstrous in the depths. You've never seen one, but you've seen drag marks in the sludge that make you wonder. And then there's the thing nobody talks about, the sounds. Deep in the interceptor sewers, where the acoustics play tricks and echoes last forever, you hear things. Splashes too big to be rats, breathing that isn't quite human, voices calling from tunnels that should be empty. The old-timers say it's just the pipes playing tricks. Air pressure, water flow, echoes from the surface. But when you're alone in the dark, waist-deep in sewage, and you hear something whisper your name, you don't stop to investigate. You move, fast. Because whether it's real or imagined, the deep sewers change you. They make you see things, hear things, believe things. Maybe it's the gases affecting your brain. Maybe it's the isolation, the darkness, the constant assault on your senses. Or maybe, just maybe, there really are things living down here that nobody wants to officially acknowledge. After all, if you were something that fed on waste and darkness, where better to live than in the bowels of a city that never stops producing both? Chapter 9, The Chemical Cocktail. 5 p.m. The Industrial District. This is where sewer work goes from disgusting to dangerous. Really dangerous. Factories and businesses are supposed to pre-treat their waste before it enters the sewer system. Key word, supposed to. In reality, illegal dumping is as common as rats in the tunnels. And unlike residential sewage, industrial waste can kill you in seconds. Your gas monitor is working overtime now, clicking and beeping as it detects things that shouldn't be there. The water has an oily sheen, petroleum products from some garage that figured flushing oil was cheaper than proper disposal. The fumes make your eyes water even through your face shield. But oil is the least of your worries. Some businesses flush acids that eat through concrete and flesh with equal enthusiasm. Others dump bases that turn fat into soap, including the fat in your skin if you're unlucky enough to make contact. Heavy metals, solvents, photography, chemicals, medical waste, it all ends up down here. Eventually, the worst part, you never know what's coming. That clear liquid flowing from a side pipe could be water, or it could be concentrated sulfuric acid that will burn through your boots in seconds. That sweet smell could be antifreeze, or it could be benzene, a carcinogen that absorbs through skin and causes leukemia. You've heard the stories. Workers who developed mysterious rashes that never healed, respiratory problems that started as a cough and ended in oxygen tanks, cancers that appeared years later, compensation claims denied because who could prove it was from that one shift, that one exposure. Some chemicals react with sewage to create new nightmares. Chlorine bleach mixed with ammonia from urine creates chloramine gas, a chemical weapon used in World War I. Now it's just Tuesday in the sewers. Your mask filters some of it, but not all. Each breath is a gamble. The tunnel ahead glows faintly. That's never good. You approach carefully, monitor extended like a divining rod. The glow intensifies, phosphorescent waste from some industrial process, radioactive enough to register on your dosimeter. Time to call in the hazmat team. Your job is dangerous, not suicidal. But here's the thing. You can't just leave. Someone has to secure the area, redirect flow, protect the public. So you stand guard over a river of glowing waste, counting the minutes of exposure, wondering if this will be the shift that comes back to haunt you in 20 years. The industrial waste isn't just poisoning you, it's poisoning the entire system. The beneficial bacteria that break down organic waste die off. The concrete corrodes faster. The metal equipment rusts and fails. Every illegal dump makes the whole system more fragile, more dangerous, more likely to catastrophically fail. And when it fails, when a pipe bursts from chemical corrosion, that's not just sewage flooding streets. That's a toxic soup of industrial chemicals, human waste, and whatever new compounds they've created by mixing. It's evacuations, environmental disasters, and headlines nobody wants to read. But prevention, that's your job too. Document, report, investigate. Play detective in a hazmat suit, trying to trace the source of contamination. Follow the chemical trail upstream, sampling at each junction, narrowing down the culprit. Then watch nothing happen because the fine is cheaper than proper disposal. Welcome to the chemical cocktail hour in the sewers, where every shift is a chemistry experiment and you're the test subject. Part 2, The Deep Dark Truth. Chapter 10, When Things Go Wrong. 6 p.m. You've been underground for 10 hours. Fatigue is setting in, the kind that makes you sloppy, makes you forget protocols, makes you take that one shortcut that changes everything. That's when accidents happen. The call comes over the radio, garbled, panicked. Man down in Section 7. Gas, can't, then static. Section 7 is a confined space, a pump station where pipes converge. Your team rushes through the tunnels, splashing through sewage at a dangerous pace. Every second counts. Hydrogen sulfide can knock someone unconscious in moments. Without oxygen, brain death begins in 4 minutes. You arrive to find chaos. One worker collapsed face down in 2 feet of sewage. His partner trying to drag him out, but overwhelmed by fumes. The gas monitor is screaming. H2S levels off the charts. This is a kill zone. Protocol says secure your own oxygen first. But watching someone drown in sewage while you mask up, that takes discipline most people don't have. Heroes die in sewers trying to save others without proper equipment. 2 deaths instead of 1. You activate your emergency oxygen, rush in. The fallen worker is heavy, waterlogged, limp. Together you drag him to the ladder. Every step is agony. Your muscles burn from oxygen deprivation despite the mask. The sewage seems to grab at him, reluctant to give up its victim. Up the ladder, 20 feet, that feels like 200. Muscles screaming, lungs burning, dragging dead weight. You can't tell if he's breathing. His face is purple, lips blue. Sewage streams from his mouth and nose. Topside, CPR begins immediately. Chest compressions force more sewage from his lungs. The smell of vomit mixes with everything else. Compressions, rescue breaths through a barrier mask. More compressions. His chest is still. No pulse. no breath. The ambulance arrives after 8 minutes. 8 minutes of pumping his chest. 8 minutes of praying. 8 minutes of tasting death through the barrier mask. The paramedics take over with professional efficiency. Intubation for lines. Electricity to restart his heart. He lives. This time, later, in the debrief, you learn what happened. A pocket of hydrogen sulfide, trapped in a dead-end pipe, released when he broke through a greased dam. Concentrations high enough to drop him instantly. His monitor alarmed, but by then he was already falling. His partner, trying to help, got a lungful of gas and nearly joined him. Both will recover, physically, but the worker who went down, he quits the next week. Can't handle going underground again. The fear is too strong. Nobody blames him. Everyone understands, because everyone knows it could have been them. This is the reality of sewer work. One mistake, one equipment failure, one pocket of bad gas, and you're another statistic. Another reason why this job has one of the highest mortality rates in the country. Another reminder that every descent could be your last. Chapter 11. The Unseen Damage. 7 p.m. The adrenaline from the rescue is wearing off, replaced by the bone-deep exhaustion that comes from too many hours in hell. But your shift isn't over. Never leave a job half-finished, even if that job is literally swimming in shit. Back in the tunnels, you move slower now, more careful. The near-death experience has everyone on edge. Conversations are minimal. Everyone's thinking the same thing. What if that had been me? But there's another kind of damage happening. The kind you can't see. The kind that doesn't show up in safety reports or workers' comp claims. The psychological toll of sewer work. You've been doing this job for 3 years now. 3 years of daily descents into darkness. 3 years of smells that would make a coroner gag. 3 years of seeing what humanity flushes away when they think nobody's looking. It changes you. Your sense of smell is permanently damaged. Not physically though, that happens too, but psychologically. You smell sewage everywhere. In your car, in your clothes, in your food. Your wife says you're imagining it, but you know better. The smell has colonized your brain. Eating becomes complicated. Certain textures remind you of things you've pulled from pipes. Brown sauce looks like sewage flow. Rice reminds you of maggots, spaghetti. Let's just say you've seen too many worms to enjoy pasta anymore. Your social life evaporates. Friends stop inviting you to dinners. They say it's scheduling, but you know it's the smell. The smell and the stories. Because how do you make small talk when your day involved fishing used pregnancy tests out of a pump station? How do you relate to people complaining about their office jobs when you've spent the morning waist deep in human excrement? Relationships suffer. Your spouse tries to understand, but how can they? They didn't see the needle stick that sent your partner to the hospital for 6 months of HIV tests. They didn't pull the dead homeless person from the overflow tunnel. They didn't watch a coworker cough up blood after inhaling chlorine gas. The nightmares are the worst. Dreams where you're drowning in sewage, where the tunnels collapse, where something in the darkness grabs your ankle and pulls. You wake up gasping, sheets soaked with sweat that smells like sulfur. At least, you think it smells like sulfur. Maybe it's just your imagination. Maybe everything smells like sewage now. Some guys turn to alcohol. Can't blame them. After 8 hours in hell, a bottle of whiskey seems like reasonable medicine. Others just go quiet, retreating into themselves, building walls between the underground world and the surface life. The divorce rate among sewer workers, sky high. The suicide rate, nobody likes to talk about that. The department offers counseling, But who has time? And what would you say? Doc, I can't stop thinking about the dead baby we found in the interceptor line. Some things are better left buried, but you keep going back, because the pay is decent, because someone has to do it, because after a while you can't imagine doing anything else. You've seen too much, smelled too much, survived too much to go back to a normal job. So you descend again and again and again, each time leaving a piece of yourself in the tunnels. Each time coming back a little less human, a little more creature of the deep. Until one day you realize the sewer isn't just where you work anymore, it's who you are. Chapter 12, The Night Shift Horror Show. 8 p.m. Darkness has fallen on the city above, but down here it's always night. The evening shift is skeleton crew, just essential maintenance and emergency response. But emergencies don't follow business hours, and neither does the horror show that is nighttime sewer work. Night changes everything down here. The temperature drops, causing condensation to rain from the ceiling in a constant, maddening drip. The rats become bolder, their eyes glowing like pairs of demon lights in your headlamp beam. And the sounds, God, the sounds are different at night. During the day, the constant flow of waste creates a white noise that drowns out subtleties. But at night, when residential flow decreases, you can hear everything, every drip, every scurry, every echo of your own breathing bouncing off the tunnel walls. Tonight's call is a classic, residential backup in an old neighborhood, the kind with clay pipes installed in the 1920s, tree roots everywhere, and homeowners who flush everything short of furniture. You already know what you'll find, but you go anyway. It's the job. The access point is in someone's backyard. They watch from their window as you pry open the manhole, their faces a mix of disgust and curiosity. They want the problem fixed but don't want to know how. Nobody ever does. You descend into their personal nightmare. The backup is severe. Sewage has reversed flow, filling the lateral line from their house. Everything they've flushed in the past week is waiting for you in a putrid dam of waste. Toilet paper, feces, tampons, and, is that a diaper, in the sewer? Some people's children, honestly. The property owner appears at the manhole. How long will this take? They ask, as if you're fixing their cable, not fishing their waste out of a pipe. You grunt something non-committal. Time doesn't exist in the sewers. There's only before the job is done and after. You start with the auger, a mechanical snake that spins its way through blockages. Feed it into the pipe, feeling for resistance. There it is. The auger bites into something solid. You reverse it, pulling back whatever it caught. Out comes a mass of flushable wipes bound together with hair and grease. Flushable, the biggest lie in modern marketing. These things are Satan's toilet paper, creating clogs that would make a plumber weep. You pull and pull, extracting foot after foot of compressed wipes like some grotesque magic trick. Chapter 13, The Midnight Confessions. But wipes are just the beginning. As you work deeper into the clog, extracting years of sins against plumbing, you find the things people thought they'd flushed away forever. A wedding ring wrapped in hair, pregnancy tests, positive ones, drug paraphernalia hastily disposed of. Each item a story, a secret, a moment of panic turned into your problem. The homeowner has retreated inside, unable to watch. Good, you don't need witnesses for what comes next, because this isn't just a standard backup. The resistance is too uniform, too solid. You've hit something worse than a standard clog. Tree roots. The ancient maple in their yard has spent decades sending exploratory tendrils through microscopic cracks in the clay pipes. Once inside, those roots found paradise. a constant stream of water and nutrients. They've grown thick as your wrist, creating a mesh that catches everything, building a dam of waste that's been accumulating for God knows how long. Root cutting is delicate work. Too aggressive and you'll break the already fragile clay pipe, turning a backup into a full excavation. Too gentle and you'll be here all night. You switch to the root cutter attachment, basically a spinning blade on the end of your auger. The sound it makes grinding through roots is like fingernails on a chalkboard mixed with a dying animal's scream. Wood chips and sewage spray back at you. Your face shield is instantly coated. You work by feel now, reading the vibrations through the auger handle. Cut, retract, clear. Cut, retract, clear. Each pass brings up more horror. Roots wrapped with toilet paper, like some hellish Christmas garland. Chunks of unidentifiable matter that could be anything from food to you don't want to know. Midnight comes and goes. You're still wrestling with roots that seem to regenerate as fast as you cut them. Your back screams from the bent position. Your arms burn from the constant augering motion. But you can't stop. Not until water flows freely. Not until this little section of the city's digestive system can process waste again. Finally, at 1 a.m., breakthrough. The auger suddenly spins free, the resistance gone. You hear the beautiful sound of water rushing past the cleared obstruction. The backup drains with a gurgling sigh, like the pipe itself is relieved. But your job isn't done. Now comes the camera inspection. Chapter 14. Through the electronic eye. The sewer camera is a marvel of engineering designed to go places humans shouldn't. A high-definition eye on the end of a 200-foot cable, waterproof, impact-resistant, and equipped with LED lights that turn pitch-black pipes into a well-lit horror show. You feed it into the newly cleared line, watching the monitor as it travels through the homeowner's personal sewer system. The camera reveals what your auger touched but couldn't see. The inside of the pipe looks like an alien landscape. Mineral deposits, creating stalactites and stalagmites. Grease coating everything in a yellowish film, and roots. So many roots, pushing through joints and cracks like wooden fingers. But the camera shows more than just infrastructure problems. It shows the archaeology of human waste. Layers of build-up that tell stories. Here's where they apparently flushed cat litter for years, creating a concrete-like sediment. There's where feminine products created a pink-tinged dam. And what's that? The camera's lights reflect off something metallic. You mark the location and make a note. Could be jewelry, could be coins, could be a crack pipe. The camera doesn't judge, it just records. Deeper into the system now, where the house lateral connects to the city main. This is where things get interesting. The pipe diameter increases, and suddenly your camera is filming an underground river of waste. Other laterals connect here, each contributing their own flow to the stream. It's mesmerizing in a deeply disturbing way. The camera catches movement. A rat, disturbed by the lights, swims past like some diseased otter. Then another, and another. A whole family fleeing the intrusion of your electronic eye. One pauses, staring directly into the camera with red eyes that seem too intelligent to knowing. Then it's gone, vanished into a side connection that leads to someone else's home. You continue the inspection, documenting cracks, offsets, and intrusions. Every defect is a future emergency call, another midnight descent into someone's shame. The infrastructure is dying, slowly but surely. Pipes installed with a 50-year lifespan now pushing 100. Band-aid fixes on top of band-aid fixes. The whole system held together by prayer and the desperate work of people like you. The camera reaches its limit, 200 feet into the labyrinth. You begin the slow retrieval, watching the footage in reverse. That's when you see it. Something the camera missed on the way in. Movement in a section of pipe that should be empty. Large movement. Too big for a rat. Too fluid for debris. You pause the footage, rewind, play again. There's definitely something there. Something that moves with purpose, withdraws from the light. Something that shouldn't exist in a 24-inch pipe full of sewage. Old-timers tell stories. Every city has them. Creatures that adapt to the sewers. Alligators are the famous myth, but workers whisper about other things. Eels that grow enormous on the rich diet. Snakes that follow the warmth of the pipes. And other things. Things that might have been pets once but aren't anymore. Things that evolved in the darkness. You make a note in the report. Anomalous movement detected at 187-foot mark. Recommend further investigation. Let day shift deal with it. You've seen enough for one night. Chapter 15. The graveyard hours. 2 a.m. The dead time when the city above sleeps and the sewers enter their quietest phase. This is when maintenance happens. When repairs that would cause backups during peak flow can be attempted. When the real work begins. Your team moves to a pump station, one of dozens scattered throughout the city, that keep sewage flowing toward the treatment plant. These mechanical hearts of the system run 24/7, grinding and pushing millions of gallons of waste. When they fail, neighborhoods flood. When they break, you fix them. Tonight's problem is a burned-out pump motor. The backup pump is handling the flow, but barely. One more failure and raw sewage starts fountaining from manholes. No pressure. The pump room is a special kind of hell. Enclosed, humid, and filled with the concentrated essence of sewage. The pumps themselves are massive, industrial giants that could grind a car into pieces. When running, they create a vibration you feel in your bones. When stopped, like now, the silence is somehow worse. You lock out the power. Nobody wants to be the guy who got pureed when someone hit the wrong switch. Then begins the delicate process of disconnecting a pump that's been marinating in sewage for years. Every bolt is corroded. Every seal is failing. Metal that should be silver is black with tarnish. Gaskets have become one with the metal through some unholy fusion of chemistry and time. The work is physical. Wrenches that require your whole body weight to turn. Hammers to persuade stuck parts. All while working in positions that would make a yoga instructor weep. Bent double, reaching around pipes. Torquing bolts in spaces that seem designed by someone who hated maintenance workers. As you work, things float past in the channel beside you. The night shift special, whatever got flushed during parties, after bars closed, in moments of drunken decision-making. You see things that make you question humanity. Things that make you wonder how they even fit down a toilet. Things that definitely violate several laws of physics, and probably a few of decency. Your partner calls out. He's found the problem. The pump motor didn't just burn out. It seized because someone flushed what appears to be an entire set of bed sheets. The fabric wound around the impeller like a textile snake, binding it until the motor overheated and died. Who flushes bed sheets? What thought process leads to that decision? These are questions you've stopped asking. After 3 years in the sewers, nothing surprises you anymore. Humanity's capacity for stupid is infinite, and it all flows downhill. 3 hours to extract the sheets. They come out in pieces, each one releasing a new wave of stench. Whatever happened on these sheets, whatever led to their flush-based disposal, you don't want to know. Some mysteries are better left unsolved. Chapter 16. The Pre-Dawn Revelation. 4 a.m. The darkest hour, when your body screams for sleep and your mind starts playing tricks. You're installing the replacement pump motor, a process that requires precision despite exhaustion that makes your hands shake. That's when your partner asks the question everyone thinks but nobody voices. Why do we do this? It's a fair question. The pay is decent, but not amazing. The benefits are good, but don't include dignity or social life. The work is brutal, dangerous, thankless. So why? You could give the noble answer. Someone has to do it. Civilization depends on it. Public health requires it. All true, but at 4 a.m., covered in sewage, wrestling with a pump that weighs more than your refrigerator, nobility feels thin. The real answer is more complex. It's about the brotherhood, the shared trauma that bonds you closer than family. Who else understands what you've seen, what you've survived? Who else can you talk to about the homeless camps in the storm drains? The evidence of crimes you found, the horrors that haunt your dreams. It's about the puzzle. Every clog is a mystery. Every backup is a problem to solve. There's satisfaction in clearing a line, in making the system flow. It's primitive, but real. The same satisfaction our ancestors felt clearing a river blockage or digging a well. It's about the knowledge. You know the city in a way nobody else does. You know its secrets, its hidden geography, its underground rivers. You could navigate these tunnels blindfolded. You understand infrastructure in a way that makes you essential, irreplaceable. And maybe, just maybe, it's about the darkness. Some people are drawn to it, not the evil kind, but the honest kind. Down here, there's no pretense, no lies, just the raw truth of human existence, flowing past in all its disgusting glory. There's something pure about that, in a twisted way. Your partner nods, understanding without words. He's asking himself, not you. Everyone down here asks themselves eventually, and everyone finds their own answer or they quit. The new motor slides into place, bolts align, power restored. The pump roars to life, immediately attacking the backed-up flow with mechanical hunger. The station vibrates with purpose again. Another crisis averted. Another night survived. 5 a.m., 1 hour to shift end. Time for the final inspection, the safety check, the paperwork that nobody reads but everyone requires. Time to start thinking about the shower that might make you feel human again. Time to practice the smile you'll wear when your family asks how was work. But first, one more task. Always one more task. Chapter 17. The morning handoff. 5:30 a.m. The day shift is arriving, fresh-faced and clean, ready to take over the underground empire. They'll never know what you prevented last night. The crises averted, the floods stopped, the diseases prevented. That's the thing about sewer work. Success is invisible. People only notice when you fail. You brief the incoming supervisor. Pump Station 7 is running on the new motor. The residential backup on Maple Street is cleared but needs camera inspection for route intrusion. Section 12 has elevated H2S levels, probably another illegal dump of sulfur compounds. The usual, he nods, taking notes. You can see him mentally preparing, shifting from surface thoughts to sewer mode. In an hour, he'll be where you are now, exhausted, filthy, and somehow satisfied. The decontamination process feels different at shift end. It's not just cleaning, it's transformation. Each layer of gear removed is a step back toward humanity. The chemical shower isn't just hygiene, it's baptism. You're washing away more than sewage. You're washing away the night, the horrors, the close calls. In the locker room, you catch sight of yourself in the mirror. Eyes bloodshot, face haggard. A small cut on your cheek you don't remember getting. When did that happen? What caused it? Better not to think about it. Better to just add it to the collection of scars, visible and invisible, that mark you as a sewer worker. Your street clothes feel foreign, to clean, to light. You've been in protective gear so long that normal fabric feels like nakedness. The morning air hits you as you exit the depot, crisp and clean and wrong. Where's the methane? The hydrogen sulfide? The cocktail of chemicals that's become your atmosphere? The drive home is surreal. Commuters heading to offices, kids waiting for school buses, joggers pursuing health, normal people living normal lives, completely unaware of the battles fought beneath their feet. They flush and forget. You descend and remember. Home, your house looks like something from a magazine. After where you've been. Clean, bright, safe. Your family is still asleep, blissfully unaware of your nightly adventures. Good, some knowledge shouldn't be shared. Chapter 18, The Shower Ritual. The home shower is different from the decon shower. This isn't about safety. It's about reclaiming yourself. You've developed a routine over the years, a ritual that's part practical, part psychological. First, the clothes go straight into a sealed bag. They'll be washed separately, with extras, everything, detergent, hot water, time. Some workers burn their underclothes after each shift. You understand the impulse. The shower starts cool, then gradually heats up. You've learned that starting too hot makes the smell worse somehow, like it activates dormant molecules. You have 3 different soaps. The first is industrial, designed to break down petroleum products. It strips your skin, but gets the job done. The second soap is antibacterial, medical grade. This is the safety pass, the insurance against whatever microorganisms hitched a ride home. You scrub until your skin is raw, paying special attention to any cuts or scrapes. That little slice on your cheek gets extra attention. Who knows what entered your bloodstream through that tiny portal? The third soap is the human soap. Something that smells like normalcy, maybe pine, maybe ocean breeze. Something that has nothing to do with sewers. This is the psychological soap. The one that tells your brain you're home, you're safe, you're not underground anymore. Hair gets special treatment, 3 washes minimum. The first barely produces suds, too much oil and contamination. The second foams a little. By the third, you might actually be getting clean. Maybe you've been in the shower 45 minutes. The hot water is running out. Your family will complain later. They don't understand. How could they? They've never had sewage in their hair, under their nails, in places that shouldn't be possible to reach while fully suited. Stepping out, you catch another glimpse in the mirror. Still you, but different. Cleaner, but somehow still marked. There's something in the eyes that won't wash off. The 1,000-yard stare of someone who's seen too much, smelled too much, survived too much. Breakfast. Your family is awake now, bustling with morning energy. Your spouse gives you the look, the one that's part concern, part resignation. They've stopped asking about your night. The answers were too much. Now they just check that you're intact, that you've come home whole, physically at least. Your kid asks if you can help with a school project about community helpers. You almost laugh. Community helper. Sure, that's one way to put it. You agree, already editing the truth in your head. You'll talk about water treatment, environmental protection, public health. You won't mention the fatbergs, the needles, the things that move in the darkness. This is your life, split between 2 worlds. The surface, where people worry about normal things, and the underground, where you battle monsters made of human waste. The exhaustion isn't just physical, It's the constant translation between these worlds. The effort of being normal when you've spent the night being anything but. But tomorrow, tonight, actually, you'll do it again. Descend into the darkness, face the horrors, keep the city functioning. Because someone has to. Because you're one of the few who can. Because despite everything, some part of you needs it now. The darkness, the challenge, the truth. You are a sewer worker, and this is your story. Part 3, the deeper you go. Chapter 19, the veteran's wisdom. 6 months later, you're no longer the rookie who gagged at every smell. Something fundamental has changed. The sewers have claimed you, marked you, made you one of their own. You've developed what the old-timers called a sense, an almost supernatural ability to read the underground. You can tell by the sound of water flow if there's a blockage building downstream. You can smell the difference between residential and industrial waste. You know which tunnel echoes mean danger and which are just acoustic tricks. Your body has adapted to. Your immune system, bombarded daily by pathogens, has become either incredibly strong or completely compromised. You're never quite sure which. Today you're training a new guy, fresh from orientation, still believing the job is about environmental protection and public service. You see yourself in his eager eyes before the sewers taught you their real lessons. First rule, you tell him as you check his equipment, nothing down here wants you alive. The gases want to suffocate you. The water wants to drown you. The diseases want to eat you from the inside. Respect that, or join the statistics. He nods, trying to look tough. They all do, until the first descent. The training tunnel is relatively clean by sewer standards. Just regular residential waste, nothing industrial, nothing special. Perfect for breaking in newbies. You watch him at the manhole, watch the moment the smell hits. His whole body recoils. His face goes through the stages: surprise, disgust, fear, determination. Breathe through your mouth, you advise. And whatever you do, don't think about what you're breathing. The descent is always the hardest part for newbies. That transition from the world of light and air to the world of darkness and waste. You remember your first time, how your legs shook on the ladder, how every instinct screamed at you to climb back up. He makes it down, boots splashing in the flow. You can see him fighting his gag reflex. See the moment he realizes the wetness seeping through his boots isn't water. Everyone remembers their first step into sewage. It's a baptism of sorts, an initiation into a brotherhood nobody wants to join. Stay close, you tell him, and watch everything. The sewers don't give second chances. You lead him through the basics. How to read the flow, how to spot dangerous gas pockets, how to identify different types of blockages by their smell and consistency. His headlamp darts everywhere, trying to process the alien environment. You remember that feeling, sensory overload mixed with primal fear. Then you show him his first fatberg. It's a small one, maybe 3 feet long. But 2 virgin eyes, it's a monster. The way it glistens in the headlamp beam, the way it seems to pulse with internal life, the smell that cuts through even the background stench of the sewer. What is that? His voice is muffled by the mask, but you can hear the horror. Congealed cooking fat, wet wipes, and human waste, you explain clinically. Probably been growing for months. This is a baby. Wait until you see a real one. You hand him the probe, watch him approach the mass like it might attack. In a way, it might. Disturbing a fatberg releases pockets of gas, sprays of rancid oil, sometimes things that move. He pokes it tentatively. The surface gives way, releasing a new wave of stench that makes him stumble backward. That's nothing, you say. Wait until summer, when they get ripe. Chapter 20. Summer in Hell. You tell him about your first summer in the sewers, when the heat above translates to a special kind of hell below, when the average temperature in the tunnels climbs to 80 degrees with 100% humidity, when the bacteria bloom like underwater gardens, coating everything in biofilm that makes walking like ice skating on snot. Summer is when the sewers truly come alive. The increased biological activity means more gas production. Methane levels that hover at manageable levels in winter spike to explosive concentrations. Hydrogen sulfide production doubles, triples. The concrete itself seems to sweat poison. I've seen tough guys pass out in 5 minutes during August. You tell him, the heat, the humidity, the gases, it's like working in a poison sauna. And that's when people use more water, flush more often. The flow increases, the rapids get stronger. I've watched a man get swept away in a tunnel he'd walked 100 times before, all because a summer thunderstorm hit while he was underground. The newbie's eyes are wide above his mask. Good fear keeps you alive down here. You continue the tour, showing him the different pipe materials, explaining how each era of construction presents its own challenges. The old brick tunnels that collapse without warning, the clay pipes that shatter like pottery, the modern PVC that gets slick as ice when coated with grease. At a junction, you stop. 4 tunnels converge here, each carrying its own tributary of waste. The sound is overwhelming, a constant roar of flowing sewage that makes conversation difficult. This is where you teach him about the buddy system. See that flow? You point to where the streams merge. That's about 500 gallons per second. You fall in there, you're gone. The current will slam you into the wall, drag you under, fill your lungs with sewage before anyone can react. We've lost people in junctions like this, never found the bodies. Somewhere downstream, they're still traveling. The truth is harsher than any training video. Bodies in the sewers don't float. They sink, get caught on debris, slowly decompose in the warm, bacteria environment. Sometimes parts surface at treatment plants. Sometimes they become part of the infrastructure itself, buried in sediment, forgotten. Always maintain 3 points of contact. You continue. Always have a backup light. Always know your escape route. And never, ever work alone. The guy who watches your back isn't just your partner. He's the only thing between you and becoming a missing person statistic. Chapter 21. The Midnight Education. The real education happens on night shifts. That's when you encounter the sewer's true nature, when the thin veneer of civilization wears thinnest. You volunteer to take the newbie on a midnight call. He needs to understand what he's really signing up for. The call is perfect for teaching a bar district backup. Friday night, peak drunk hours. Every bad decision made in those bars eventually flows downhill. And tonight, it's created a massive clog in the main interceptor line. You suit up in silence. The newbie fumbles with his gear, hands shaking slightly. Whether from cold or nerves, you don't ask. Everyone's scared their first night shift. The smart ones stay scared. The manhole is in an alley behind a row of bars. Music thumps from inside, bass lines vibrating through the ground. Drunk patrons stumble past, oblivious to the crisis brewing beneath their feet. You pop the cover, and even the newbie can tell something's wrong. The smell is different, acidic, chemical, wrong. Alcohol changes the sewage chemistry, you explain. All that beer, wine, liquor, it creates a different kind of waste. More acidic, more volatile. Mix that with whatever drugs get flushed, and you've got a cocktail that can eat through concrete. The descent reveals the problem. The pipe is completely blocked, Sewage backed up to within inches of street level. One more flush, one more drain, and it's coming up through every opening in a 2-block radius. But it's not a normal clog. The mass blocking the pipe glows faintly in your headlamp. Phosphorescent, moving. What the hell? The newbie's voice cracks. You've seen this before. Some combination of chemicals, probably from the photo lab that illegally dumps fixer, mixed with whatever designer drugs the club kids are taking these days. It creates things, biological masses that shouldn't exist, that glow with their own light, that move with something almost like purpose. Welcome to the night shift, you say, pulling out the hypershot cutter, where chemistry meets biology meets nightmare. The mass resists cutting. It's elastic, rubbery, almost alive. Each cut releases spurts of glowing fluid that sizzle where they hit the concrete. Your gas monitor goes crazy, picking up compounds it can't identify. This is beyond the normal hazards. This is what happens when humanity's waste stream becomes a laboratory for accidental chemistry. It takes 3 hours to clear. 3 hours of cutting, pulling, bagging material that belongs in a hazmat disposal site, not a city sewer. The newbie works in silence, processing what he's seeing. You can watch the romance of the job dying in his eyes, replaced by the harsh reality. When it's finally clear, when the sewage flows freely again, you both stand in the tunnel, exhausted. Above, the bars are closing, patrons heading home, never knowing how close they came to wading through their own waste. This is the job, you tell him. Not environmental protection, not public service. This fighting monsters made of human excess. Preventing disasters nobody knows about. Getting exposed to things that will probably kill us in 20 years. Still want to do it. He's quiet for a long moment. Then, do we encounter stuff like that often? Often enough, you admit. The city's a big organism, and we work in its bowels. Everything it consumes, we deal with the waste. Every chemical, every drug, every industrial accident, it all ends up down here eventually. And sometimes, when the right-wrong things mix, you don't need to finish. He's seen enough. Chapter 22. The Deep Tunnels. 3 years in, you get assigned to deep tunnel maintenance. These aren't your regular sewers. These are the interceptor tunnels, some large enough to drive trucks through, carrying millions of gallons of waste from entire neighborhoods to treatment plants. Down here, everything is amplified. The dangers, the volumes, the creatures that call darkness home. Your first deep tunnel shift is unforgettable. The access shaft drops 150 feet straight down. No ladder, you ride a cage like a mining elevator. The descent takes 5 minutes, ears popping from pressure changes. When the cage finally stops, you step out into a cathedral of waste. The tunnel is 30 feet in diameter, carved from bedrock. The flow is a river, not a stream. The sound is deafening. Millions of gallons of sewage creating rapids, waterfalls, whirlpools. Your headlamp barely penetrates the mist rising from the churning waste. This is where you learn about the settlements. Not homeless camps. Those exist in storm drains and abandoned sections. These are different. Communities of people who've chosen to live in the deep tunnels, away from society, away from law, away from light. You find evidence everywhere. Makeshift shelters built into maintenance alcoves. Cooking fires that leave soot stains on tunnel walls. Belongings cached in waterproof containers. And sometimes, the people themselves. They call them mole people, but that's not fair. They're human beings who've made an inhuman choice. Living in the sewers changes you. Their skin goes pale, almost translucent. Their eyes develop a shine, adapted to near-total darkness. They know the tunnel systems better than any map, better than any worker. Your first encounter happens at 3 a.m. in a section that should be empty. Your team rounds a corner, and there she is. A woman, maybe 40, maybe 70. Hard to tell. She's washing clothes in the sewage flow like it's a mountain stream. She looks up at your lights without flinching, eyes reflecting like a cat's. "Morning, boys," she says casually, like you've met at a laundromat. Protocol says report all tunnel dwellers. Reality says they're harmless, just trying to survive. You nod, continue past. She returns to her washing. Both of you pretending this is normal. Both of you knowing it's anything but. The deep tunnels have their own ecosystem. The rats down here are different, bigger, bolder, some albino from generations without sun. They move in organized packs, hunting cockroaches the size of mice. You've seen rat kings, multiple rats with their tails fused together, moving as one horrific unit. Urban legend says they're bad luck. Experience says everything down here is bad luck. Then there are the sounds. In the regular sewers, you can usually identify noises, water flow, gas bubbles, structural settling. In the deep tunnels, sounds travel differently, echo and distort. You hear voices where there are no people, screams that might be steam releases, metal groaning that could be pipes adjusting or could be something else. Chapter 23. The Storm Surge. Your education in deep tunnel horror completes during your first major storm event. When heavy rain hits, the combined sewer system does what it's designed to do, handle both sewage and stormwater. The volumes are unimaginable. What's normally a river becomes a tsunami. The call comes at 2 a.m. Storm moving in faster than predicted. Crews still in the tunnels, doing maintenance. Get them out, now. You've never moved so fast. The ride down seems to take forever. Already you can hear the change. The normal roar is deeper, angrier. The cage hits bottom and you're running, splashing through flow that's already doubled in depth. The maintenance crew is a mile in, replacing a section of pipe. A mile doesn't sound far until you're running through a sewer with a flood coming behind you. Your radio crackles with updates. 10 minutes until the surge hits. 10 minutes to cover a mile in a hunched run through sewage. You find them still working, oblivious. The sound of their equipment drowning out the approaching disaster. You grab the foreman, scream in his ear. His eyes go wide. Everyone drops everything and runs. Now you understand why fitness standards matter. Running in chest waders through knee-deep sewage is like running through quicksand. Every step fights you. The ceiling is too low to stand straight, so you're crouch running, muscles screaming. Behind you, the sound grows. A rumble that vibrates through the tunnel walls. 500 feet from the access shaft, you see it. A wall of water, 15 feet high, moving at 30 miles per hour, carrying everything, debris, logs, cars that got swept into storm drains. A liquid avalanche that will crush anything in its path. The cage is still at the bottom, doors open. Everyone piles in. You hit the emergency ascent button. The winch screams, lifting too fast. The cage jerks and shudders. Below, the surge hits. Water explodes up the shaft, chasing you. For terrifying seconds, it gains. Then the cage clears the surge zone, keeps rising. Everyone makes it out, barely, but the image stays with you. That wall of water carrying the detritus of civilization. Cars, trees, and in the debris, things that might have been bodies, or might have been mannequins. In the sewers, in that light, at that speed, you can never be sure. Chapter 24. The breaking point. 5 years. That's the average career span for a sewer worker before they quit, transfer, or break. You've made it 4.5. Every day, the question gets louder. How much longer? The physical toll is obvious. Your knees are shot from constantly crouching. Your back spasms without warning. Carpal tunnel from gripping tools in awkward positions. Respiratory issues from gas exposure. Skin conditions from chemical contact. The doctor says you have the body of someone 15 years older, but it's the mental toll that really gets you. The nightmares have evolved. No longer just drowning in sewage. Now you dream of the tunnels themselves. Endless mazes where you're always lost, always hunted, always just ahead of some unseen horror. You wake up smelling sulfur that isn't there. The paranoia is real. Every stomach upset might be the start of some sewer-borne disease. Every cough could be the beginning of something your insurance won't cover. You've seen co-workers waste away from mysterious illnesses, watched strong men become shadows, eaten from the inside by infections that shouldn't exist. Your family life is in ruins. Your spouse left last year. Couldn't handle the smell, the stories, the way you'd stare at nothing and shake. Your kids visit on weekends, but they're uncomfortable. Their friends say you smell weird. They're not wrong. The breaking point comes on an ordinary Tuesday. A routine maintenance check in a tunnel you've walked 100 times. Nothing special, nothing dangerous, just another day in the sewers. That's when you see it. In an alcove, barely visible from the main tunnel. A body, but not a recent one. This has been here for years, maybe decades. Mummified by the constant flow of warm air. Still wearing the remnants of a uniform. A sewer worker, by the looks of it. Did he die on the job? Did anyone look for him? Or did he just disappear into the tunnels one day, becoming part of the infrastructure he maintained? You stare at the corpse, seeing your future. This is how it ends. Not in some dramatic accident, but quietly, forgotten, absorbed by the very system you've spent your life maintaining. You radio it in, follow protocol, wait for the coroner, answer questions, but inside, something shifts. The last thread holding you to this underground world snaps. Chapter 25. The Last Descent. You give 2 weeks' notice. Management tries to convince you to stay. You're experienced, reliable, one of the best. They offer more money, better shifts, a supervisory position. You decline it all. You've seen enough, survived enough, lost enough. Your last shift is ceremonial. The crew knows you're leaving, treats you with the respect reserved for survivors. You've earned your escape. Few do. One final descent, one last tour through the tunnels that have been your second home, or maybe your first home, with how much time you've spent down here. You know these passages better than your own neighborhood. Know every turn, every junction, every problem area. The sewers seem different knowing you won't be back. Less threatening, somehow. Or maybe you're just beyond caring. The smells, the sights, the sounds, they wash over you without impact. You're already gone, mentally. Already in whatever clean, bright future awaits above ground. At the deepest point of your route, you stop. Listen to the flow. For a moment, you almost understand it. The appeal. The sewers are honest in a way the surface world isn't. Down here, everything is reduced to its essence. No pretense, no lie. Just the raw truth of human existence, flowing endlessly toward treatment and release. You've been part of something essential, kept the city functioning, prevented disasters, saved lives, even if nobody cares. Chapter 26. The Surface World. Your first day as a former sewer worker feels like emerging from a coma. The sunlight seems too bright, the air too thin. You find yourself checking for your gas monitor, reaching for gear that isn't there. Phantom smells haunt you, sudden whiffs of sewage that make you whip around, looking for the source. The job placement office suggests sanitation positions, water treatment, industrial maintenance, all variations of the same theme. They don't understand. You're not looking for cleaner sewage. You're looking for clean, period. You take a job at a hardware store. Customer service, regular hours, clean environment. The pay cut is brutal, almost 40% less. But you can eat lunch without tasting sewage. You can shake hands without wondering what's under your fingernails. You can sleep without checking for gas leaks. The first week is surreal. Customers complain about trivial things, paint colors, return policies, parking spots. You want to grab them, shake them, scream. Do you know what real problems look like? I've seen where your shit goes. I've swum in your liquid shame. Your paint color doesn't fucking matter. But you don't. You smile, nod, process their returns. This is normal life. This is what you fought to return to. Except you can't return. Not really. The sewers have marked you permanently. Chapter 27. The knowledge that haunts. You can't use a public restroom without thinking about where it goes. Every flush triggers calculations, flow rates, pipe diameter, distance to the main line. You know too much about the journey of human waste. At restaurants, you watch grease going down drains and see future fatbergs forming. You want to stop the kitchen staff? Explain what happens when oil meets sewage. Describe the monsters they're creating. But you stay quiet. It's not your problem anymore. Rain makes you nervous. Light showers are fine, but heavy storms trigger panic. You know what's happening underground. The surge, the overflow, the combined sewer outlets dumping raw waste into rivers. You check weather obsessively, plan routes to avoid flood zones. Friends think you're paranoid. They didn't see the wall of water that almost killed your crew. The worst part is the knowledge you can't share. The things you've seen that nobody wants to hear about. The body parts that sometimes float past. Medical waste, crime evidence, or worse. The chemicals that absolutely shouldn't be in the sewers, but always are. The way certain neighborhoods have signature smells that tell stories about drug use, illegal dumping, industrial crimes. You know which restaurants have grease trap violations by the consistency of nearby fatbergs. You know which hospitals improperly dispose of medical waste by the syringes in pump stations. You know which factories dump at night by the chemical burns on tunnel walls. This knowledge sits in your gut like poison. You want to report it all, expose the violations, protect the workers still down there. But you also want to forget, to pretend those years underground never happened. The conflict tears at you daily. Chapter 28. The brotherhood you left behind. 6 months out, you get the call. Martinez, a guy from your old crew, died on the job. Hydrogen sulfide exposure. Knocked unconscious. Fell face first into sewage. Drowned before his partner could pull him out. He was 34. Left behind a wife and 3 kids. The funeral is a reunion of sorts. Current workers and escapees, like yourself, gathered in ill-fitting suits that can't quite hide the damage. Everyone looks older than they should. Everyone has the same haunted eyes. The widow cries. The kids look confused. The priest talks about service and sacrifice, having no idea what those words really mean. After, at the bar, stories flow with the beer. Remember when Johnson got swept away and surfaced 2 miles downstream? Remember the phosphorescent thing in Tunnel 7? Remember the time we found that cache of drugs and had to call in the hazmat team? But underneath the dark humor is the unspoken truth. Martinez won't be the last. Someone else will die next month, next year. The sewers demand sacrifice. Always have, always will. You want to warn the young guys, the ones with only a year or two in. Tell them to get out while they can. But you see yourself in their eyes. That stubborn pride, that belief they're tougher than the job. They'll learn if they survive. The old-timers buy you drinks, respect your escape. You got out clean, they say, like you're a reformed criminal. In a way, maybe you are. The sewers are an addiction. The adrenaline, the brotherhood, the purpose. Normal jobs feel empty after you've battled fatbergs and saved neighborhoods. One guy, Peterson, 25 years in and still going, pulls you aside. You did right, he says. Getting out. I should have left after my first heart attack. Or the second. Now I'm too old for anything else. Gonna die down there, probably. But you still got a chance at a real life. His words follow you home. A chance at a real life. If only the sewers would let you go. Chapter 29. The symptoms that linger. A year out, the physical recovery has plateaued. Your knees still hurt. Your back still spasms. But it's manageable. What's not manageable are the other symptoms. The ones no doctor can explain. Your immune system is either bulletproof or completely shot. You can't tell which. You never get normal colds, but you get weird infections, rashes that come and go, respiratory issues that sound like Victorian consumption. Blood tests show anomalies that make doctors frown and order more tests. The sensory issues are worse. Your nose, traumatized by years of assault, misfires constantly. Flowers smell like sewage. Sewage smells like flowers. Food tastes wrong. Everything tastes wrong. You've lost 40 pounds because eating is a chore, not a pleasure. Then there's the hypervigilance. Every drain is a threat. Every manhole is a portal to hell. You map sewer lines unconsciously, always aware of what's flowing beneath. In buildings, you locate exits, not for fire, but for flood. If the sewers back up, you'll be ready. Sleep brings no relief. The dreams have evolved again. Now you're not in the sewers, you are the sewers. You flow through tunnels, carrying waste, feeling every blockage, every breach. You wake up choking. Sure, you're drowning in sewage, only to find yourself safe in bed. Safe, but never secure. Your therapist tries to help. PTSD from sewer work isn't in any manual, but trauma is trauma. You talk about the darkness, the dangers, the constant threat of death. But how do you explain the deeper horror? The knowledge of what humanity flushes away. The understanding that civilization is 3 inches of pipe wall away from drowning in its own waste. Some things can't be therapied away. Some knowledge can't be unlearned. Chapter 30. The unexpected return. 2 years clean. You've built something resembling a normal life. Promoted to assistant manager at the hardware store. Dating someone who doesn't know about your underground years. Sleeping through most nights. The sewers feel like a fever dream, a previous life lived by someone else. Then the city calls. Not for your old job, for your expertise. They're building a new treatment plant, upgrading the system. They need someone who understands both the technical specs and the reality of sewer work. A consultant, clean work, office work, but sewer adjacent. The money is triple what you're making. Health insurance that might actually cover your weird medical issues. A chance to help design systems that won't kill workers like Martinez. You know you should say no. You've worked too hard to escape, but the pull is there. The sewer's calling you back, not to the tunnels, but to the plans, the improvements, the chance to make things better. Your girlfriend doesn't understand your hesitation. It's just consulting, she says. You won't actually be in the sewers, but you know better. Once the sewers claim you, you never really leave. You just negotiate the terms of your servitude. Chapter 31. The Consultant's Perspective. You take the job, of course you do. The sewers always win. Your office is clean, bright, with windows overlooking the city, but the walls are covered with tunnel maps, pipe schematics, flowcharts. Your computer runs modeling software that predicts sewage behavior. You're out of the tunnels, but still in the shit. Metaphorically speaking, the engineering team respects your experience. You're the one who can tell them why their brilliant designs will fail in practice. Why that sharp turn will create a fatberg collection point. Why that pump configuration will murder maintenance workers. Why their flushable product testing is bullshit. You review accident reports, seeing patterns the desk jockeys miss. Every death, every injury, every close call you can prevent with better design. It feels like redemption. Like your suffering serves a purpose, but it also means immersion in sewer data, flow rates, chemical compositions, blockage statistics. Your days are spent thinking about waste management. Your nights are spent dreaming about it. The sewers have you back, just in a cleaner cage. Site visits are the hardest. Standing at tunnel entrances, watching crews descend. The smell triggers everything. Memories, fears, a perverse nostalgia. Part of you wants to suit up, climb down, return to the brotherhood of waste warriors. Part of you runs screaming. You design safety features based on personal experience. Emergency oxygen stations where you almost suffocated. Escape ladders where crews got trapped. Gas monitoring systems that actually work. Each improvement is a small victory against the darkness. The crews know who you are. The guy who got out but came back. Some respect it. Others see you as a sellout, making bank while they still risk their lives. Both views are accurate. Chapter 32. Training the next generation. Part of your consulting involves training new workers. The city wants someone who's been there to supplement the standard safety videos. Someone who can make the dangers real. Your first training session, you're nervous. 20 fresh faces, all believing they're tough enough for sewer work. You see yourself in every one of them, cocky, clueless, about to get educated by the University of Human Waste. You start with the easy stuff. Equipment, procedures, regulations. They're bored, checking phones, whispering jokes. Time to get their attention. You show them photos, not from safety manuals, but from your personal collection. The injuries, the accidents, the things found in tunnels. Their attention snaps forward. Phones disappear. The room goes quiet. This, you say, showing a photo of a massive fatberg, took 6 workers 8 hours to clear. 2 went to the hospital with respiratory infections. 1 never came back to work. You tell them about Martinez, about the wall of water during storm surge, about workers who disappeared and were never found, about the phosphorescent thing that shouldn't exist but does. Their faces change. The cockiness fades. Reality sets in. Good fear might keep them alive. But you also tell them about the brotherhood, the pride in keeping the city functioning, the satisfaction of solving problems nobody else can handle, the dark humor that gets you through dark places, the unique perspective gained from seeing civilization's hidden truth. This job will change you, you conclude. It will take things from you, health, relationships, maybe years off your life. But it will also give you something, a knowledge, a purpose, a connection to the city's hidden life. Whether that trade is worth it, that's for you to decide. After a few approach with questions, real questions, not bravado. They want to know how to survive, how to stay sane, how to know when to get out. You answer honestly. Some decide on the spot this isn't for them. Smart kids, others lean in, determined. You see the sewer calling them, claiming them already. You want to grab them, shake them, tell them to run. But you know it's too late. The sewers choose their workers as much as workers choose the sewers. Chapter 33. The Infrastructure of Nightmares. Your consulting work gives you access to data the public never sees. Incident reports, chemical analyses, system failures. The true state of America's sewer infrastructure. It's worse than even you imagined. Most cities run on systems built 50 to 100 years ago. Designed for populations half the current size. Maintained with band-aid fixes and prayers. The number of catastrophic failures prevented only by workers like your old crew is staggering. You read reports of near misses that would terrify any rational person. Tunnels that nearly collapsed during rush hour, which would have swallowed streets and cars. Treatment plant failures that almost dumped millions of gallons of raw sewage into drinking water supplies. Gas buildups one spark away from explosions that would level city blocks. Each near miss was prevented by some underpaid, overworked crew member who noticed something wrong and acted. Heroes whose names appear nowhere, whose actions saved thousands but earned no recognition beyond a notation in a report nobody reads. The chemical contamination data is even worse. Despite regulations, industrial dumping is rampant. Your models show accumulation of heavy metals, carcinogens, and compounds that shouldn't exist. Workers are exposed daily to a toxic cocktail that will manifest as cancers and organ failures years down the line. You push for better protections, stronger enforcement, real consequences for illegal dumping. Management nods, agrees, then explains budget constraints, political realities, the impossibility of change. The system is too big, too entrenched, too essential to fix properly. Band-aids and prayers it is. Your reports become increasingly dire. You document everything, create paper trails, cover your arse and maybe save some lives. But you know the truth. The infrastructure is dying, and it's taking workers with it. Chapter 34. The Next Disaster. It happens on a Tuesday. Not your city, but close enough. A major sewer line collapsed during morning rush hour. The street opens up like a hungry mouth, swallowing cars, buses, a piece of sidewalk with pedestrians. The news plays it as a freak accident. You know better. You've been warning about exactly this scenario for months. Aging infrastructure, deferred maintenance, ignored warning signs. The only surprise is it didn't happen sooner. The death toll climbs through the day. 13 confirmed, more missing. Some killed in the initial collapse. Others drowned in the sewage tsunami that followed. A few suffocated from gas release. The lucky ones died quickly. Your phone won't stop ringing. Reporters want expert commentary. Cities want emergency assessments. Everyone suddenly cares about sewer infrastructure now that it's eating people alive. You give measured statements about preventable tragedies, infrastructure investment, the heroes who work underground. But inside, you're raging. You've been screaming about this for years. Every report, every warning, every prediction ignored until the sewers claimed their sacrifice in blood. The aftermath is predictable. Investigations that go nowhere. Promises of reform that fade with the news cycle. A small increase in maintenance budget that doesn't begin to address the real problems. The workers get hazard pay for a few months until everyone forgets. At the memorial service, you recognize the look in the survivor's eyes, the same 1,000-yard stare you see in the mirror. They've seen the truth now, that the thin line between civilization and catastrophe runs through sewer pipes, and that line is breaking. Chapter 35. The Final Understanding. 5 years as a consultant. 7 years total in the sewer industry. You're 43 but look 60. Your medical files could stock a research library. Your expertise is unquestioned. Your warnings still largely ignored. You've done what you can. Designed safer systems. Trained hundreds of workers. Documented the decay. Saved some lives, probably. Not enough, never enough, but some. The nightmares have evolved one final time. Now you dream not of drowning in sewage, but of the city drowning. Streets caving in, buildings collapsing, the underground rising up to reclaim the surface. Civilization's end starting from below. Maybe it's prophecy. Maybe it's just your brain processing the inevitable. The infrastructure will fail. Not if, but when. And when it does, the comfortable surface world will discover what you've always known. We're 3 inches of pipe wall away from apocalypse. You write your final report. Not the sanitized version management wants, but the truth. The whole ugly, terrifying truth about what flows beneath our feet and what's coming if we don't act. You name names, cite violations, predict disasters with addresses and dates. They'll bury it, of course. Too inflammatory, too alarmist, too honest. But it'll exist. When the next collapse comes, when the death toll climbs, when people demand to know why nobody warned them, your report will surface. Too late, always too late, but proof that someone knew, someone cared, someone tried. Epilogue, what flows beneath. You retire early. Medical disability helps. All those documented exposures finally worth something. You move somewhere rural, with a septic system you can monitor yourself. No city sewers, no underground networks, no rivers of waste flowing beneath your feet. But you can't escape the knowledge. Every flush, everywhere, you know the journey. Through house pipes, to street mains, to collectors, to interceptors, to treatment plants. You know the workers down there now, fighting the same battles, breathing the same poisons, holding back the same disasters. Sometimes, during heavy rains, you think about them. The crews scrambling through tunnels, racing against storm surge. The new kids learning what fear really means. The veterans counting days until escape or death. You lasted longer than most, got out cleaner than most. But the sewers never really let you go. There in your lungs, your blood, your dreams. You carry their dark knowledge, their terrible truths, their constant reminder of how fragile civilization really is. When people ask what you used to do, you say public works and change the subject. How do you explain years spent in the bowels of the city? How do you describe the brotherhood of the damned, the monsters made of human waste, the thin line between function and catastrophe? You don't, you can't. Some truths are too dark for the surface world. But late at night, when the rain falls hard and the ground saturates, you know what's happening below. The rising water, the overwhelmed systems, the workers fighting to keep the underworld from erupting into the light. And part of you, the part the sewers claimed forever, wishes you were down there with them. Because for all the horror, all the danger, all the damage, it was real, it was necessary. It was the most important job nobody knows about. You were a sewer worker, and no amount of time, therapy, or distance will ever wash that away. The sewers flow eternal, and somewhere in their dark currents, part of you flows still. Remember to like and subscribe if you survived this journey into the underground. Comment below if you think you could handle even one shift in the sewers. And ask yourself, next time you flush, will you think about where it goes? About who goes down there to keep it flowing? Some jobs are too dirty for robots, too dangerous for ordinary people, too important to ignore. Sewer workers are the unseen, unsung heroes of civilization. They wade through our waste so we don't have to. They risk their lives so our toilets flush. They descend into hell daily and rarely make it back unchanged. Respect the flush. Respect the flow. And for God's sake, stop flushing flushable wipes. Until next time, sleep well. And remember, 3 inches of pipe wall is all that separates you from the dark truth flowing beneath.